Today, we're going to talk about people that think I gave lousy information and Dominic, who thinks there's way too many rules here, along with some people that bought property and a whole bunch of other comments and questions. Let's go ahead and get started. Hey everybody, how you doing? And welcome. I'm Rusty Nelson. This is a channel where we talk a lot about the villages, things in retirement, things in and around the villages, areas, fun things to do, all kinds of happiness. And well, thanks a lot for subscribing and liking. You know that drill. And this is just after Ian. And hey, didn't we kind of hit it lucky? Ian decided to go just south of us, so we really didn't get too much. I did a couple of videos on those if you want to take a look at them. And, you know, thoughts and prayers go out to the people that didn't fare so well on the coast. And I hope they're getting the assistance they need. And, yeah, that's about all I can say. My heart goes out to them. And after living in California for a while and going through forest fires and earthquakes, I definitely understand what happens here. But anyway, thoughts out to you, prayers with you, and I'm sure a lot of people in the villages feel the same way. But this is a question and answer session where we kind of go all over the place, and I'm definitely going to hit some, and I'm probably going to jump on a few people. You know, I get a lot of comments on here that aren't so friendly, and what people don't probably understand is I review every single comment, and I kind of stay away from political stuff just because it gets kind of crazy and I really don't want to deal with it. But sometimes we get comments that deal directly with political things and they're not so nice, so sometimes I address them anyway. But let's just go ahead and get started. And like I said, thanks a lot for pushing that like button, and we'll jump right into the questions. Here we go. Question number one. Here's a question from Georgie Porgy, and this is something that I kind of tend to address a lot, and I don't mind kind of hitting up on it once in a while over and over again, because for people that live in the villages, they understand this. People that don't live in the villages may not understand it, and it kind of happened to me. But Georgie Porgy writes, good name. I visited the villages twice. One of those visits was a lifestyle visit. I did not see diversity at all. Among all the folks were elderly whites. What I did see is that everyone is super friendly and polite, which is definitely true. I am sure they would accept other races and religion. The only thing holding me from moving to the villages is the age gap. I'm 58 and most folks are 70 plus. Well, first of all, let me say, and I'm going to kind of go through this really quick. The villages is large. So you have this huge community that takes, at this point in time, 30 minutes to drive from the top to the bottom, and it's going to get even longer. In fact, the area that is south of the turnpike right now, they're actually building to house the people, a lot of them that work here, and they're building a whole high school down there. So you're going to see a lot of people that participate in the villages get a little younger for that reason. But down where I am, down south, down in St. Catherine, which is below 466A, there are a lot of people. In fact, I think Jerry and Linda just did something, the new face of the villages, you know, kind of like younger people. Most of the people down where I am are younger. If you go up north, they are going to be older. And the reason is simple. When that area was originally purchased and started down in the late 60s, 70s, 80s, those people purchased there, and a lot of them still live there. So a lot of those people are in their 70s and 80s. When my girlfriend and I came to the villages the first time, we went into Sumter, and almost everybody there was over 70. Now I'm learning right away, and the reason I came back was because somebody told me that down in the southern areas, it's a lot newer. So you're getting a lot of people moving in their 50s, late 50s, early 60s. And I'd say the average age is probably more like early 60s, mid 60s, and it's probably going to get even younger, the average age. So anyway, I hope that helps you out a little bit. You may want to come back and take a look at it, but I do agree that it is something that it almost takes a little bit of getting used to, because we're used to being out in an area where you have everywhere from kids to 100 years old. But when you go to the villages, it kind of starts getting concentrated into that late 50s, 70s, and even up into the 80s as you go north. So I hope that helps out. On to the next statement or questions. This next one from Sound Music is not really, a question, but it kind of brings up something that I like to talk about once in a while. Let me read it. And it was writing the comment to me, but I'm kind of passing it along. There's a lot of people in the villages that bring tons of talent and hobbies and crafts and that types of things. And you have to go out and find them. It's not going to come to you, and there's not one specific area, but there's a lot of different avenues. And I have some different videos on those, on how to find information. But it says, come join us for Fantastic Beatles music every Friday from 10 to 12 at Odell Rec Center. If you prefer acoustic music, join us at the Hampton Singers on Wednesday nights from 7:30 to 8:30. So here's one little area that you can get involved in music. For instance, my area down in St. Catharines, there you can find out a lot of information. They have a Facebook page for St. Catharines, and you have to live in St. Catharines for that. But you'll hear a lot about these types of things, little groups, or when pickleball is going to be playing down in Azelle, that type of thing. So I highly suggest, if you're sitting there and you're first there trying to get involved in things, seek these ways to find out this information. And I have a few videos on those if you want to go back and look at those. Also, when I get things like this, come join us, I probably will, but I don't get to do it necessarily right away. I kind of put them in a folder, and later on I'll take a look at them. And when I have time, since I'm back and forth still, as you can tell, I'm up in Pennsylvania right now. Let me tell you, it got kind of cold coming back up here. I'll go back in and try to create a longer video about different things like that. So anyway, go out, venture out, and hey, if you do like Beatles music, go up and kind of look and see what happening at the Odell Rec Center, and look up the Hampton Singers. I'm sure they probably have a Facebook page. Anyway, on to the next statement or question. This question, Deb writes, and it's kind of a fun question because it leads into the next question, so hang on. Hi, Rusty. Looks like a great place. She's talking about a restaurant that Bob, Liz, and I reviewed, which we've got more of those coming. Thanks for sharing. Just curious to know, are you still enjoying the villages as much today as you did when you first came to explore the villages in the first video I did? Wondering if it gets old over time and if any of the excitement has worn off. Do you have any regrets after purchasing your home? I actually have no regrets. Like with anything else, you start to question a little bit. The excitement, there was, when I first got there was a lot of excitement exploring every, nook and cranny. The problem is I'm actually getting tired of exploring so much. I mean, there was just so much to keep going after, and it seems like I keep meeting new people, new groups of people. And when one thing kind of fizzles out, I literally go through the paper and I go, oh, there's something that sounds kind of interesting. I'll go try that. I mean, it can be anywhere from painting rocks to something else. And here's the way I look at it is, if let's say you moved into Podunk, Indiana. I don't even know whether there is a Podunk, but someplace, a small town of, under 200,000 people in Indiana. You're still going to go through the same things as you would in the villages. It's not some miracle place. You have to go hunt down and look up the things that you want to do and the different things that you can access. And the thing is, they're all at your fingertips. They're all right here. There's somebody coordinating all this information so it comes to you. It's up to you to access it. Now, the thing is do you miss, I mean, I lived right on the water in California. So, I mean, the ocean was a block from my house. I watched the sailboats go by the front of my place. So that was always nice. Do I miss that? Yes, I do miss that. Would I trade it? No. I enjoy the people at the villages. I enjoy the company. I enjoy the things that I do. So no, it hasn't worn off, but it's just like anything else. You kind of get used to it and you kind of start going with the flow. I'm not going to miss the snow up here. I can tell you up north. And the thing is, if you want to do that, you go hopping in a plane, you go visit and go rent a cabin up in the snow. And guess what? You get to leave and you go back to the villages. Anyway, so I hope that answered your question. I have no regrets so far. It's been a wonderful journey, and maybe I'll revisit that question in 2 years. On to the next one. And this one, I got Gringo Loco to thank for. I'm just going to go ahead and play this clip, and this is a restaurant that Bob, Liz, and I reviewed. Hit the clip, and then we'll explain. This is Bob and Liz, and I'm not 100% sure where we're going. So where are we going? Liz knows, I know.
Faux Saigon.
And how far away is that from St. Catherine?
It's in Oxford. So what would you say?
301 and 466. Probably about 15, 20 minutes.
All right, so we are going outside the bubble. That is the clip, and I'll put the link to it. It's kind of fun place, but I'm going to throw Liz under the bus because I've been corrected by a couple of people, including the Gringo Loco, that it is not faux Saigon, it's Fa Saigon. And we will stand corrected, but watch the video. It was a good place. On to the next question. Thank you, Gringo. He writes, and this is regarding actually the last video, Faux Saigon. And this person writes, nice touch would be to ask the owner or manager about their history regarding the restaurant. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. That would be a good idea. And folks, let me know if you think in the comments it's something that you'd like to hear about. I'm more than happy to do it, especially if I'm invited into a restaurant to go do it. And I have a couple of quirky ones that I want to do that I've already got permission for. So yeah, you're right. That could be interesting. And the murals in there were really cool. Might even be interesting to find out about the person who did the murals. Anyway, thanks a lot for the suggestion. Put your comments down below if you'd like to hear that kind of stuff. And we'll go on to the next question. And here's another restaurant question. Again, quite a few of these. So I think Bob and Liz are going to have to truck out to some of these restaurants. John and Jane R. First of all, thanks a lot for listening. I really appreciate it. You see, this one was held for 2 weeks. Thanks, Rusty. We suggest you try Lake Eustis. Fish Camp in Javars. Oh, man, am I making a horrible mess out of this one? Anyway, you can read it. The best seafood we have found near the villages. Great food, drinks, and staff. So, hey, somebody from that restaurant, if you want me to come out and do that, I'll come out and do it as soon as I just figure out how to pronounce it. But thanks a lot, John and Jane, for the suggestion. On to the next question. Hey, if anybody's been there, put some info about it down below. Thanks a lot in the comments. Jeannie writes, you are interesting to listen to. Well, thanks, Jeannie. I really appreciate that. Are you a paid spokesman for the villages? You know, Jeannie, I am not. I have absolutely nothing to do with the villages. And in fact, when I first started this, just for the rest of the audience, I was actually approached by the attorneys from the villages, and one of the things they asked me to do is make sure people knew that I had nothing to do with the villages. So I am unequivocally letting you know that I have nothing to do with the villages. And just so you know, if you are on YouTube, this is kind of interesting for people that don't know this, if you are paid by somebody, so in other words, let's say the villages golf course asked me to do a paid commercial, you have to put that on the video. In other words, you have to let the audience know that you were paid, that this was an advertisement. And you also have to let the YouTube know. It asks you in the questions, is this a paid promotion? So there's also some pretty strong legal things that you have to deal with. If you don't put that on there, the appropriate government authorities will come after you. So anyway, that's it. I have nothing to do with the villages. I'm not paid by anybody that I do these videos with. So that's about it. On to the next question. When I do these videos, it usually takes a lot of work because I do a lot of research on them and I try to get things right. And on them, I generally choose my words very carefully because I know you guys are on here listening for obvious reasons to try to learn. And I got this note from Ed, and I'll put it up here in a second. And basically it said that I gave lousy information. Well, Ed, I kind of disagree with you because in the very beginning of this, I said, one, that don't listen to me. In fact, I'll even play a clip of it. Two, the broker that was on there with me, we both discussed it, how different everything is for everybody. And for this particular thing, we were talking about taking Social Security early. And for some people, taking Social Security early is the good thing to do if they feel comfortable with that. So here is the clip, and then I will explain to you once again, and maybe even show you some numbers as to why I took it early. So you sort of lost me with your lousy, take your Social Security early advice. Now I'm going to play that clip for you here in a second when I talk to you about what I did. And then Ed goes on to explain about why I shouldn't take it early and blah, 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 blah. And he says the last 30-year video was informative, but it took a while to get there. So I got a lot of complaints from Ed. And I admit there's a lot of things where we talk back and forth, but that was the whole concept of the video, was for her and I to kind of go back and talk about all the things that I talked about so you could raise the same questions. But what I'm going to do is play the clip here, and then I'm going to show you the exact numbers that I used to Jesus, did you guys see that? The video, the pictures just fell off the wall right in the middle of the video. Oh, that's going to be a blooper at the end, that's for sure. Hold on, I got to go fix that. Anyway, here's the clip.
And to address what you just talked about, this is kind of something, the torture I went through. I decided for myself to take Social Security at 65. Although my full retirement age was 66 and a half. So I had about 18 months. Well, without going through the whole math for you, I decided to take it before my full retirement age. And this is me. You got to do your own research. It would have taken me to make up the difference, to break even, till I was about 79 years old.
Yeah, it's usually 12 to 15 years.
Yeah. So in other words, what we're saying is if you're close and there's a little bit of difference, you need to figure out where your break-even point is and decide. I mean, I could be. I'd rather take it and spend it, or take it, better yet, and I'll put it in the little difference and put it in the market.
Yeah.
And whatever you do, don't listen to anything I say. Because I'm just me.
There you go. That's me repeating again. That's just me. Don't listen to me. We also said during that whole two-part series on Social Security and Medicare that everybody's situation is different. Now, I'm going to actually give you some of the numbers here to explain exactly what was going on and why I made my choice, because I feel that maybe I didn't explain it right, but it is true that everybody's situation is different. Now, I just turned 65 and I decided to take Social Security at 65, which is 18 months prior to my full retirement age. At full retirement age, you get the full lump sum that you're entitled to. If you take it early, you get a little bit less. In my situation, if I had taken it at 18 months prior to my full retirement age of 66 and a half. Now that's going to be different for everybody because it depends on what year you were born. At 66 and a half, I would have put $21,600 in the bank by taking it 18 months prior. So by taking it early, 18 months early, even though it was $125 less, I put $21,600 in the bank so that at my full retirement age of 66.5, I had $21,600 in the bank. To make up that difference, since I would have only gotten $125 more a month, I would have had taken 14.4 years to make up the difference, which would have taken me just to about 80 years old. Now, for me, I didn't feel that it was worth waiting till I was 80. I decided to take it early and take a little bit less because it was so much less. Now, that was my specific situation. If you go back at the tape and you look at it, never do I say in any way, shape, or form that this is good for everybody. I specifically say, as you heard, this is for my situation. You need to figure out what's right for you. So for me, I didn't feel like I was going to waiting till I was 80. And on top of that, at 85, which is the time I was supposed to be dead, I would have only generated $7,500 more, and I felt like I could generate that in the market or close to it. So why not take the gamble and say, you know what? I could die before I'm 80. I could die before I'm 85. Anyway, that's it. I hope that helps out with that question. Do your own research on all this stuff. It's so important. Here we go. This is actually a two-part question, but it really hits on two things that I get people saying down in the villages, and I get on comments and everything else, and usually from some grumpy old people that have never been here. But Rebecca writes, and first of all, let me say congratulations, Rebecca. We are moving down in March to live, and they have live in big letters, our life. Some of our friends and family have had negative comments, and I just said to them, you need to experience the villages to understand our decision. Oh my God, how many times have I heard that? We are very excited for our future, and I don't blame you. I was pretty excited too. Here's the thing is, most of these people, at least that I've run into, that have these negative comments and stuff are people that don't live here. Sure, nothing is perfect. But when a lot of people look at this, they see stupid movies up there and they think, oh, that must be how the village is like. I don't need to go down there. Well, you do need to go down there. And with that said, it's not for everybody. It's really, really not for everybody, and not in a bad way. It's the same thing as some people don't like living near the beach. Some people like living up in the mountains. Well, the Villages is it's hardly hard to say it's a retirement community, because when you say that, it just doesn't seem to fit. But it is a place to go live life from 55 on. If you're somebody that likes to sit in a log cabin someplace up in Montana by yourself and you want to talk to the animals, more power to you. I hope you find that log cabin. The Villages is probably not a place for you. But if you're somebody that wants to come down and live, you want to be part of activities, you want to socialize, you like music, you like golf, you like pickleball, you like painting rocks. There are over 3,000 clubs here. Not 300, not 30, but 3,000 clubs. And they're all kind of run mostly by people that have an interest or a hobby or something like that, and they want to do that. But then you get folks like Dominic, who I'm kind of guessing, I could be wrong, Dominic, I'm guessing you haven't been here. But there are many restrictions, and a lot of people move because of them. Well, there's like 140,000 people that live here, whether they know it or not, that live here because of the restrictions. You don't have to wake up one morning and find Joe Schmo working on his car in the driveway. In fact, you're not even allowed to work on cars supposedly inside the garage. But you don't have to worry about that person having a car up on blocks in their driveway. I love that kind of restrictions. I don't want to have to worry about my neighbors. You don't have to worry about your neighbor upkeeping their lawn. And you may have to, but you just report them and then it's taken care of. I like that kind of thing. So those restrictions that you're talking about, Dominic, are what make life easy down there. All the things that I don't want to worry about are taken care of, and they're in the deed restrictions. So you know what you're getting into, you know what's in store for you, and you know what your responsibilities are in your neighborhood. And I find that kind of relaxing and nice. And most of those are restrictions to make people keep up their property, make them so they're not bad neighbors, and so on and so on. So anyway, I hope that addresses that. Congratulations, Rebecca. I hope you love living there, and I hope you enjoy your new place in March. But once again, the Villages is not for everybody, but I find it so strange that when people comment about it, they say it in such a negative way. I don't get it. It's almost like they're not happy because there's all these people that are happy. Anyway, that's enough for that question. Well, I just looked down at my microphone and it seemed like I might have had it tuned up a little high. This moving back and forth from Florida up to here, sometimes the equipment gets mixed up in the settings. Anyway, I hope this sounds a little bit better. Anyway, I think I will call that quits. I got a whole bunch more questions. I will punch more of those out. Let me know what you think of the questions down below in the comments. I really appreciate your suggestions, and hopefully I'll have answers. I enjoy the questions. And as always, I enjoy meeting you down in the Villages out on the street. And if you watch some of my other videos, I've met people all the way up here in Pennsylvania that stopped me and said they watched the videos. So thanks a lot for joining me. I really appreciate it. Subscribe, like, and all that kind of stuff. And I will either see you down in the Villages or I will see you back here on YouTube. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.